Hello there, many thanks for still staying with us on TVC News at 1. It's now time to bring you the latest from the world of business. Now, the World Bank says it has committed a total of $8.5 billion to Nigeria to fund critical sectors of the Nigerian economy, ranging from agriculture to education. World Bank Country Director to Nigeria, Shubham Chaudhuri, who made this known at an event in Abjua, notes that the amount is the largest that any country has gotten so far. He also adds that it is still in the stage where we have to compare the needs of Nigeria to other economies, stressing, however, that around $2.5 billion to about $3 billion of the fund has been channeled towards education. According to Mr. Chaudhuri, it is Nigeria's call to determine how it will mobilize its financial resources to enable young Nigerians to go to school, or whether its scarce resources will be used to subsidize petrol with over 6.5 trillion naira. He further stated that Africa's most populous nation is mobilizing 6.7 trillion naira for petrol subsidy at the expense of education and health, with a current record of 10.1 million children out of school. And in this next report now, more than 66 billion naira has also been disbursed to over 1.2 million beneficiaries through the country's MSME Survival Fund. The Minister of State for Trade and Investment, Mariam Katagum, made this known at a town hall meeting on the scheme in Abjua. Lara Folayo has the details.
MSME Survival Fund was put in place by government to stimulate the economy post-lockdown. This was particularly targeted at MSMEs through the creation of production opportunities for them by way of conditional grants to distressed businesses and self-employed individuals. The fund was introduced alongside the Guaranteed Offtake Scheme to assist MSMEs affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. The plan was to directly engage 100,000 MSMEs in the productive sector alone and save nothing less than 1.3 million jobs.
The anticipated impact of the program was to directly engage 100,000 MSMEs in the production sector alone and save at least 1.3 million jobs. The program set a special target of 45% female-owned MSMEs and 5% for those with special needs.
The scheme's scorecard shows over 66 billion naira disbursed to more than 1.2 million beneficiaries. Over 82,000 businesses benefited from the MSME grant, while the CAC formalization support saw 250,000 businesses registered. More than 398,000 were beneficiaries of the Artisan and Transport Scheme, while over 490,000 employees benefited from the Payroll Support Scheme.
Under the Payroll Support Scheme, the target was to augment the payroll obligations of MSMEs and also to reach 500,000 beneficiaries. In total, to date, we have reached 490,408 employees.
Some companies got as much as 500,000 every month for 90 days to pay their staff. You know, what that did for some of the companies was that it allowed them at least use some of their monies for something else. There are some MSMEs, their total business is no more than 100,000. How are they going to fare? So what we now decided was that those ones, let's quickly give them 50,000 naira.
The Guaranteed Offtake Scheme also saw over 37,000 businesses benefiting. Though the scheme had its fair share of challenges, the authorities are glad it was impactful. The implementation of the MSME Survival Fund cuts across 5 tracks of payroll support, artisan and transport, formalization support, general MSME grants, and the Guaranteed Offtake Scheme. Lara Folayo, TVC News, Abuja.
And away from the MSME sector now, the incessant importation of prohibited goods into Nigeria has been described as an economic sabotage. The acting comptroller, Federal Operations Unit Zone A of Hussein Ejibunu, made the assertion following the interception of hundreds of cartons of expired seasonings, 12 trailers of foreign parboiled rice, among other seizures recorded in 1 month. TVC News correspondent Ifeanyi Eze reports.
Showcasing seizures made in the month of July, Comptroller Hussein Ejibunu displayed thousands of bags of foreign parboiled rice packed on every available space within the premises, numbering more than 7,000, an equivalent of 12 trailers. He explains that rice smugglers regularly deploy motorcycles as means of conveyance.
Aside from bandits using motorcycles, smugglers now devise means of using motorcycles to ferry their items. And most importantly, you see that the arrest is always being done right inside the thick bush, where no one can see them. We take fight into their den, and that is the result you are seeing behind me.
Condemning the importation of expired food seasoning, Comptroller Ejibunu questioned the rationale behind expending scarce foreign exchange to bring in banned goods into the country, knowing that they are liable to seizure.
We have a lot of issues that has affected this seasoning. Number one is written in French language. And this product expired since December 2021. And you are bringing it in 7 months after expiration. You see the desperation of smugglers? Now it is possible for them to bring this thing in, they will do repackaging and now start sending it to the market. All suspecting Nigerians will enter market and buy it. And today, tomorrow, you start hearing people complain of so many different ailments. From where this was intercepted, I have already given them marching order to ensure that all vehicles coming through that place is stopped and frisked adequately.
Which area, sir?
It's at Baji, coming from semi-axis.
Other seizures recorded include used tires, footwear, over 34,000 litres of premium motor spirit, used clothes among others, with a duty paid value of 537.5 million naira, while the sum of 24.9 million naira was generated through demand notice issuance. Ifunanya Eze, TVC News, Lagos.
And now shifting focus to the international front. Global equities slipped slightly today, but were still set for a weekly gain, while traders waited for US jobs data due later in the session to give clues as to the health of the world's largest economy. MSCI's World Equity Index, also with track shares in 47 countries, was up 0.2% and on track for a weekly gain of 0.7%, marking its third consecutive weekly gain. Stoxx 600 features were down 0.1%, and France's CAC 40 and Germany's DAX features were both flat, while London's FTSE features were also down as well, 0.2%. Meanwhile, in the currency market, US dollar index was up around 0.2%, and the euro was down at about 0.2% as well, at $1.02, while Australian dollar, also which is seen as a liquid proxy for risk appetite, recorded a downward trend. And in Indonesia, economic growth accelerated in the second quarter of this year amid an export boom driven by rising commodity prices. But monetary tightening, rising inflation, and a global recession risk threaten the outlook. According to the country's second quarter gross domestic product, the Southeastern Asian country also grew at about 5.44% from a year earlier, showing the fastest growth rate in a year, beating the median forecast of about 5.17% in the first quarter of this year. The GDP data also shows that exports expanded nearly 20% from a year before, a performance that Statistics Bureau called impressive when compared with the 16.22% annual growth seen in the previous quarter. However, household consumption, which accounts for more than half of the nation's GDP, recovered further after lifting of COVID-19 restrictions, with the Eid al-Fitr celebration in May providing a further boost, but with slow investment base. And wrapping up business news at this hour, oil prices on the international market rose slightly today, bouncing off their lowest levels since February this year, as concerns over supply shortages were countered by expected declines in fuel demand. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude recorded a price uptick of 0.3% to sell at $88.81 per barrel. Brent crude now sells at about $94.51 per barrel, registering an upward price margin of 0.4%. Bonnie Light's performance continued with its downward streak, losing about 3.5% to sell at $118.10 per barrel. And for the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers offer $104.20 per barrel with a price surge of 0.66%.